Hare Krishna, Namaste. When the scriptures very clearly states that He, the God, is the cause of all causes, then why am I being blamed for the mistakes that I have not done? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. It is so very clear in this statement. Also in many other scriptures, it is pretty clear. So this is a very common question among people. Whatever is happening is all because of God. Even a blade of grass can't move without the will of the Lord. Therefore, I am being good or bad. It is also depends on the will of God. It is all triggered by Him. If He wishes that I do good things, then I will be doing good. If He wishes I do bad things, then I will do bad. If He wishes I be gentle in my speech, I will be gentle. If He wishes I be arrogant in my speech, I will be arrogant. If He wishes I could be liberated. If He wishes I could be entangled in this world. If He wishes, He could give me birth with good intelligence. If He wishes, He could make me a dull-headed. If He wishes, He could make me a serious devotee. If He wishes, He could make me to follow the principles of devotional service. He is the Supreme Ishvara, controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna, the Supreme Controller. He can do anything He likes. Anything that happens in my life is also completely dictated by His will. Therefore, I can't be the cause for any of the suffering that I am going through. I cannot be blamed for my behavior. I cannot be blamed for anything for that matter. Because He is the cause. He allows me to make mistakes. And then He says, surrender unto me, and I will forgive your mistakes. For me, it appears to be like a planned drama. I am just simply participating in His drama helplessly. Looks like for His enjoyment, the poor living entities are being tossed in this material world. So, looks like we don't have any choice in His planned program, but to simply act according to His will. Let's see the answer. The concluding statement, what we saw, we act according to His will, is the ultimate goal of human life. But the way it has been projected in the question is not a right way of thinking. Whatever has been mentioned in the question, all the charges against God doesn't even have a % of truth in it. First and foremost thing that we need to correct our understanding is that we are not the puppets in the hands of the Lord. Puppets are achit, jada. They are non-sentient entities. They can't think, they can't feel, they can't will. They are just matter. We are not. We are not a table. We are not a chair. We are conscious entities. We are sentient beings. God has given us jnana, the intelligence. Here when we say intelligence, we are not talking about having a PhD degree or something in those lines. Just the general knowledge which is used for discriminating things of this world, to know what is living and what is non-living entities. We don't need to go to a prestigious college to gain that knowledge, to differentiate between matter and spirit. We don't treat a stone and a baby in the same manner. We know the differences. To know this is fire, I don't need to call a fire department to gain knowledge. To know that this is a snake, I don't need to go browsing to find that. None of these things requires an academic study. These are common, general knowledge that everyone has. And that is the intelligence, that is the jnana that we are mentioning here. God has given us that. All living entities possess that knowledge. Of course, depending on the type of body we get based on our karma, the level of jnana varies. The level of jnana of an ant is not the same as plant. And jnana of a dog is not the same as ant. The jnana of a human is not the same as dog. The jnana of a devata is not the same as human. When we say same, we are talking about the level of intelligence that they have, the understanding, their consciousness. If anyone denies this basic factor and says we are not intelligent being, we are not conscious being, we don't possess knowledge, then it is an baseless argument. In fact, it is contrary understanding, because if they deny we don't have jnana, we are like matter, then they wouldn't have even started this conversation to argue. The ability for them to argue clearly states that they have jnana, they are an conscious entity. We never heard or seen a shoe comes and argues with us, why are you stamping on me? You're too heavy. The table never says you're pressing too hard on me. Therefore, it is clear, since the question is being asked, someone is arguing, that clearly states that entity, the person, cannot be a matter. It must be a sentient being, a conscious entity. This is the first point to be clear, that we are not the puppets in the hands of the Lord. We have been given the jnana, we have been given the free will to discriminate things, to make choices in our life. Then one may ask, we see many great saints and sages, they sing songs accepting themselves to be the puppets in the hands of the Lord. If we are not puppets, then those great saints, why do they call them to be puppets? Even Srila Prabhupada does that. Aniyacho jyote Prabhu amare nachate, nacho nacho Prabhu nacho she mate, kastare puthali jata nacho se mate. O Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. O Lord, make me dance as you like. This was written by Srila Prabhupada as he was entering into United States. And we can find similar statements in many other scriptures by great saints. Yes, the great saints accept themselves to be puppets in the hands of the Lord. But we are not great. They have given complete control of their life in the hands of the Lord. They are surrendered completely by exhibiting akinchanyam and ananyagatitvam. No other means, no other shelter other than Krishna. In our case, we say surrendered, but we keep full control of our life. Krishna is kept as 911 support in case of emergency, because we have many other options that we keep in hand to save ourselves. We simply say we are surrendered souls, but only our heart knows how much we are surrendered. When the great saints say they are puppets, they really mean it, and they beg the Lord to take control of their life. Whereas when we say we are puppet, we are saying that to blame the Lord so that we can escape from the sins that we commit. Also, another point to note here is we never seen or heard that a puppet approaches the puppeteer begging to take full control of them. In case of these great acharyas, They submit themselves to be controlled by the Supreme Controller, Krishna. Hence they call themselves as puppets in the hands of the Lord. Meaning, like how a puppeteer controls the movements of the puppet, my Lord, you control me as well. Let me do as you wanted me to do. And the free will that you have given to me, I submit that free will to be your puppet. Therefore, these great souls are conscious puppets who volunteered to be controlled by the Lord, unlike the actual puppets which do not do so. In spite of telling all this, if someone still holds on to the argument that we are puppets, then they should not even think of even breathing, eating, sleeping, working, any of these things. They must be like a log of wood, doing nothing. Even for this argument, unfortunately, such people who are stubborn with their idea that they are puppet and God is puppeteer, is the one who is controlling all their activities, they may say that it is God's will if I have to lay down as a log of wood. That is also not my will. By the will of God, if that is what needs to be happen, I will. It is God's will. If He wants me to eat, I will eat. If He wants me to sleep, I will sleep. If I have to shoot someone, I will shoot. It is all happening because of His will. So such people who are very strong in their opinion, this wrong opinion, there is no point in talking to them on this subject matter. When the great saints call themselves to be puppets in the hands of the Lord, they do take effort to do everything and anything to please the Lord, to follow what is being told by the Lord. They accept their mistakes. They know their suffering is due to their own karma. Anything good happens in their life is simply because of Lord's mercy. For example, it was predicted by the horoscope of Srila Prabhupada that he will build 108 temples around the world in his lifetime. But he was not simply sitting in one place saying, I am puppet in the hands of the Lord, therefore I will just stay in Radha Dhamma, the temple in Vrindavan, and that 108 temple will manifest by itself. He didn't do that. Being a puppet of the Lord, he functioned as per the will of the puppeteer. That is what being puppet means. Puppet doesn't mean here that do nothing. Puppet means that do things as per the instructions of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada really worked hard to make the statement of Jyotism true, but he did not take any credits. He said, I am just an instrument in the hands of the Lord. I am just a puppet. He made everything happen through me. So it is all done by Krishna. He is the doer, not me. Such is the mood of great devotees when they say, I am just a puppet in the hands of the Lord. Whereas when we say we are the puppets in the hands of the Lord because we want to blame the Lord. So it is two different perspectives between saints' thoughts and our thoughts. So the first point to be clear to the question, God is cause of all causes. Therefore He is cause for all my good and bad action, is to understand that we are not non-sentient entities. We are sentient beings. That means we have jnana, knowledge. That means we have free will to make choices in our life. God is not puppeteer and we are not puppets. We are not so because we are not great saints and sages. For those great saints and sages, yes, the Lord takes control over of their life in both good and bad situations in their life. In our case, for all the good things that happens, we take the credits. For all the bad things that happens, we blame and pass it to the Lord. So the point here is, it is us who makes the choices, and based on the choices that we make, we face the consequences, the outcome. Hence it is clear that we are the cause of our own effect. The differences that we see in the world, some are rich, some are poor, some are good looking, some are not, some are healthy, some are weak, are not due to Lord's choices. It is not His Sankalpa to create these differences among the beings. The differences that we see in this world is purely based on those individuals' karma. Even the parents of this world who has multiple children, they don't show differences to those children. They try to treat all the children equally. They don't give extra food for one son and old food for another son. They don't just treat birthday of one son and not for the other one. They try to do the best they could to keep all the children happy by providing equal opportunities. But it is the children's choice whether to make avail of those opportunity or not. If they be submissive, they obey the instruction, follow the instruction and behave well, then they can come successful in their life. If not, their life will be challenged. Likewise, the Lord is certainly equal to everyone, every single entity are His children. But if the children doesn't behave, doesn't want to follow the instructions of the Lord, they want to be independent, then they naturally have to face the consequences. One may say, why can't God take forcefully control of all the living entities? Well, He can do anything, but then He want to respect the free will that we have, the knowledge that we possess. Otherwise, we will be like the matter, but we are not matter, we are conscious entities. Therefore, the conscious entities need to be treated consciously, and love cannot be forced. Therefore, the Lord doesn't do that. So the differences that we see in the world is not due to Lord's choices, it is because of the individual karmas. That means the Lord is equal to everyone. He doesn't hate anyone. And this is what also confirmed in Brahma Sutra by Veda Vyasa. Then the question is, why do we hear that the Lord is cause of everything? It is because of His will everything happens. That means if my suffering is due to my karma, then for me to do that karma, it must be God who is the cause. Without His sanction, how can I do anything for that matter? Veda Vyasa says that God is not cause, whereas we also hear God is cause of everything. So the way that we can understand this contradictory statement, which is actually not, is by knowing that there are two causes. One is Samanya Karana, another one is Vishesha Karana. Samanya Karana means a common cause, and Vishesha Karana means specific cause. God is Samanya Karana, common cause. He creates this universe. He provides all the necessary tools, facilities, and we also part of this world. Therefore, everything is under His control. He is Samanya Karana. He created this place. He given us the body, sense and mind. So the Lord gives us the infrastructure for us to function. After this, it is the individual self that makes choices and decisions in their life. That becomes the Vishesha Karana. The Lord does not interfere with those individual choices. That free will through which we make choices creates karma. So the idea that we all have Not a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, even whatever I do, bad or good, it's all Lord's choice, is not a correct statement. We cannot equate ourselves to the blade of grass. The Lord has given us the infrastructure so we can exercise of either draining our karmas or accumulate karma using our free will. The Lord does not interfere in our free will. That means He was only cause for providing us the infrastructure, and we are the Vishesha Karana, a specific cause for the differences that we see within this world. Then one may ask, if everything is happening due to karma, my karma, then why do we need God? What does He do? Surely God is needed for two purposes. Karma is achit, jada. It doesn't have intelligence. It cannot do things by itself. It is that person who is conscious, make sure the karmas are being rewarded to the respective person. If I win a game, the trophy does not come to me by itself. A conscious person gives that trophy into my hands. It is God who makes sure we get the reward of our both good and bad karma. The second main reason why God is needed is because we ourselves will not be able to drain all our karmas. It is mission impossible. It is only He to whom we surrender can forgive all our karmas and accept us at His lotus feet. Before we conclude, there could be a couple of questions. 1. Does animal have karma? Answer is, they have karma. That is why they are born into a particular body. But while they are in that particular animal body or a bird body or a plant body, they do not accumulate any further karmas. They are exempted from accumulating any new karmas while they are in this lower species of life. But human certainly will accumulate karmas after 12 years of their birth. Until 12 years, they go through karma, but they don't accumulate any new karmas. Another question may be, will parent share or get children karmas, or that the children get parents karmas? Answer is, no one gets anyone's karma. They already have enough karma to deal with. God will not add any more on top of it. It is certainly due to individual karma. They are all put into a particular family, so they together either enjoy or suffer, or enjoy and suffer. Certainly the impact of a family member may affect the other family member, but not to say they are sharing the karmas, but by suffering, mentally suffering, seeing the other family members suffer, this person also draining his karma. When one of the family member is successful in academic or successful in sports or successful in something, when the parent enjoys the success of their children, obviously some degree of their good karma is getting reduced. So the point is, no one shares anyone karmas. The cause and effect is to that particular individual only. But there is one exception to this whole karma program. When the Jivatma is ready to depart its body and attain the spiritual world, the remaining punya karma and the papa karmas are distributed equally. Meaning the punya karmas are distributed to the well-wishers, relatives and friends, whereas the papa karma are distributed to those who were envious, mean and to enemies. This also could be one of the reasons why we are to be careful not to commit any offense to the devotees, to the Vaishnavas. We cannot judge, we cannot tell who will be liberated now, who will be liberated later. So it is better to be very careful in our dealings with any Vaishnavas. Otherwise, we have to take their leftover karmas. Then one may say, well, even if I be good with a Vaishnava, then I'm going to get their good karmas. That means I'm going to accumulate karmas to stay in this world and enjoy more, which is going to be another bondage. So better not to deal with any Vaishnavas. Better to be away from them, not to associate with them. It sounds very logical, but actually it is illogical. Because Krishna himself says that he wants his devotees to be together, serve each other, discuss about his pastimes and his qualities. When he says this, do we think that he doesn't know that we may get into problem of getting all good karmas of the other devotees? So let's know that he knows what he is doing. We simply follow his instructions and he knows where to distribute those karmas and to whom. Let's not worry about that part, because Krishna will not put any obstacles in our journey towards him. So hopefully these few recordings would have answered some of the common questions that we may all have. Why do only good people suffer a lot? Why can't I remember my past sins? Why God must punish us for our sins? And lastly, God is cause of all causes, who is also cause of my good and bad activities. There are many people that we may come in contact with, could be our friends or relatives, who may go through some real tough time in their life, trying to figure out why this is happening to me. To them, these knowledge must be shared to increase their faith in God. It is very important that we cultivate knowledge, spiritual knowledge, to strengthen our bhakti. If we don't have a proper knowledge, then our bhakti will be shaken. So kindly, if you feel that you gained some knowledge through these sessions, please share with those who are really in need of it. Share it in your own language, in your own words. Sharing of spiritual knowledge is one of the best charity that we can do. Thank you. Hare Krishna.